Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics.
Bad mail.
Now
Thank
let's
you.
start the show.
Thank you.
What's the deal with shaming? It's like shaming, but you should be ashamed. I mean, you got all these kinds of shaming. You got, slut shaming, and you got fat shaming, and you got, I don't know, a lot, anything that you can shame somebody for. That's that plus shaming. That's how the thing works, basically. Kink shaming. That was another big one I was trying to think of. People will shame people for stuff, but then you have the people that turn and be like, "Whoa, hey, don't shame people for that." They basically try to shame you for shaming someone else, which is obviously very hypocritical because I thought the idea was we shouldn't be shaming people, but maybe we just shouldn't be shaming people for things that we think people shouldn't be shamed for. But then it's all like a subjective thing. I was like, well, I think people should be shamed for some things. So you don't like shaming because that's kind of what you're already buying into when you say that. If you're like, hey, don't shame whatever it is. So if you're like, they're like, shame on you for this. Hey, shame on you for shaming them. You shouldn't shame people, except for certain things, I guess, because I'm doing it to you. You can only shame people for shaming other people. So shame on me as well, but at least I'm not shaming anybody about what I am shaming them. And you get this weird, like, paradox, infinite feedback loop, and then you're like, your head explodes, and it's like, good. We have saved the Enterprise from certain doom. But, like, I don't know, like, it just seems like such a weird, like, thing to be, like, upset with people for shaming when you're shaming them for doing that. And it's like, I guess you really have to break it down. It's like, well, why don't you like why there's like, you shouldn't even just be like, don't shame people. You should really kind of bring it down and be like, okay, like, yeah, you shouldn't just shame people for no reason, just because like you don't agree with it. Like, you should have a good reason if you want to put shame on them for something. And we should maybe not fight on the ideological ground of like, should we shame people? Like, what is shame? What, like, where are we shaming? Like, when is shaming okay? When is shaming not okay? When is shaming too much? When is shaming not enough? When is shaming just right? And it's a weird thing to walk on, and I don't know, just the whole shaming thing just seems really like silly to be like, because as soon as you're like, you like don't shame somebody or whatever, you're like putting yourself in that line of fire, and like really you should just be saying like, don't make fun of it. I don't know, like basically like something that doesn't seem like you're doing the exact same thing in the process. Like, don't make fun of somebody for that. Don't look down on them for that. Like, don't try to police them for that. Whatever, like that kind of thing. It's like certain things you can kind of try to do that aren't necessarily using the word shame. And it depends on if shaming is what they're actually doing in the first place, which that could be a hard thing to like. Is what they're doing shaming them, or are they just like disagreeing with them, or they trying to have a conversation? I don't know. But to shame somebody for shaming, which we're gonna have to do the same like leap of logic if what they're doing can be assumed as that, and what you're doing can be also assumed as shaming. It's very hypocritical. It's weird, and shame on you for doing it. Shame the shamers. Shame on you, Seamus. You should be ashamed. You should be shamed, and you should be de-shamed, because no one should feel shame. All of us should be the same. With the ground. Fuck yeah, I nailed it. I kicked its ass. I took its ass, I used its ass to kick its dick. That's how good I just did that fucking episode. Holy shit!